Hello everyone. So in your second semester you have seen many of the spectroscopies. Now in your second semester you have seen NMR spectroscopy, you have seen your mass spectroscopy. In your first semester you have seen U visible spectroscopy, IR spectroscopy. Now these are some of the spectroscopies that you have learnt in your first and second semester. In your third semester also, the spectroscopy chapter gets continued, but there will be a different approach to this particular phenomena. Now these spectroscopies that you learnt, they were said to be absorption spectroscopy. Now in your third semester, you will be learning the spectroscopies which are possible in terms of emission spectroscopy. That is, once the absorption of the light takes place, and then later from the ground state to an excited state the electrons are moved, and once they are returning back to the ground state there will be some wavelength of light which will be emitted, and such spectroscopies you are going to learn for the third semester. So one of the chapter in this particular spectroscopy in the paper CHOT 3.3 is molecular luminescence spectroscopy and photoelectron spectroscopy. Once again we can see that molecular luminescence spectroscopy and photoelectron spectroscopy. Before even we try to understand what is this kind of spectroscopy, let us understand what are the objects that give off light. There are examples like sun and stars. Why do they give off light? Because of the fusion reactions. There are fire explosions. This is because they undergo combustions. Glow in the dark paints. Now for example, in the paint, if there is an addition of a system like coumarin. Now coumarin can be added to the paints and this glows. Now why this happens is because first of all there is an absorption. Once an UV light falls on the coumarin, there will be an absorption. Obviously we can expect that there is a pi to pi star transition and there is an n to pi star transition. Why this happens is because there is a presence of a double bond system and also there is a presence of a carbonyl carbon system. Now this is an example for glow in the dark paints. We can also see flashlights and bulbs. Now flashlights and bulbs are due to the phenomena that there would be some metal which will be superheated, and that superheated metal is going to give some kind of light. When we come to fireflies, now fireflies contain a chemical called as luciferin. Now this luciferin, it glows in dark. That is, it will undergo some chemical change, and then this phenomena is called as bioluminescence. Now what exactly is the definition of luminescence? We can first of all see that a large number of substances are known which absorb UV visible light. What is the range of this UV visible light? That is 400 to 700 nanometer. Now an example that we can give is any of the system which has got a double bond. We have already learnt in terms of the system called as bathochromic shift, hypsochromic shift. We have also seen a system like hyperchromic shift and hypochromic shift. Now why does that happen? Is because there is a conjugated system of the double bond present, and we see that any compound that is going to have a double bond or a carbonyl carbon associated with the double bond, it is going to give a kind of absorption spectroscopy, that is UV visible spectroscopy. Now for example, if I am just looking at the compound called as acetophenone, the expectations are there will be a pi to pi star transition, there will be an n to pi star transition, there will be a sigma to sigma star transition, and there will be a system which is going to act in terms of absorption. Now what happens here is the ground state of the system is flashed with the UV light. The electrons present at the ground state, they absorb and they move to an excited state. Now this excitation is observed by these particular transition. So that is the first phenomena. Now these substances lose excess energy as heat through collisions with neighboring atoms or molecules. Now we can see that, for example, if I am just considering acetophenone, now I cannot flash light on a single molecule of acetophenone. There will be a solution of acetophenone onto which I will be flashing light. Now the electrons at the ground state system, they will move to an excited state. This is what is going to happen in the acetophenone system. Once they move to the excited state, they will never stay back in the excited state. These electrons, they shall never stay in the excited state. They have to return back to their ground state. So in the return, they might emit out some heat energy, they might emit out some light energy. Now this emission is what we are going to learn in terms of a luminescence spectroscopy. That is emission of light after returning or trying to return to the ground state, we are going to observe as a luminescence spectroscopy. Now sometimes it may so happen that they have these acetophenone molecules. Let us say that this is a molecule number 1, this is molecule number 2. Now electrons from the molecular number 1 has also gone from ground state to an excited state. Molecular number 2 also has gone from ground state to excited state. While returning back, they might collide with each other. After collision, they might lose some energy. This is one of the phenomena. Secondly, they might not collide and there might be some emission of light. Now this particular light in terms of emission can be an electromagnetic radiation. Once it is an electromagnetic radiation, definitely we can learn it in terms of spectroscopy. Now electromagnetic radiation is emitted wavelength, has got some emitted wavelength that may be longer. Now for example, let us say that the absorption light is some 400 nanometer. So what has been absorbed at the ground state has been 400 nanometer. But while coming back, the emitted system may be 500 nanometer. So this becomes a longer wavelength compared to what has been absorbed, which is a shorter wavelength. Now this becomes a longer wavelength. Now in this process, when there is a longer wavelength which is getting emitted, this process is called as luminescence phenomena. So basically what happens is, once the system of the electrons, they move from ground state to excited state, they have to return back to the ground state because they cannot stay at the excited state. While returning back, if they give out a longer wavelength, then this phenomena is called as luminescence spectroscopy. Now the luminescence can be divided into various types. One is photoluminescence, second one is chemiluminescence. Under photoluminescence, the phenomena are fluorescence and phosphorescence. Under chemiluminescence, they can be a man-made chemiluminescence because of the chemicals that we might synthesize, and there be a bioluminescence, which is an example like luciferin, which I have already explained. But we need to look into a detailed phenomena called as fluorescence. Now let us observe this particular system. Now we can observe that there is an atom over here. Now this can be an atomic or a molecular level. So let us say that these levels are present here. So in an atom, there is a nucleus, there are various electrons which will be revolving. Once these electrons are revolving, now as the laser hits the system, there is a system, this electron, it moves to an higher excited state, and once it moves back to its lower excited state, lower ground state system, we get fluorescence. Now we can observe here that electron absorbs a photon of light and gets excited to a higher energy level. Electron falls back to the original level, giving off a photon of light. Now what happens here? Let us say that some amount of energy has been given, that is a laser light is given to this particular electron. That is, this particular electron is absorbing some amount of energy. Once this energy is absorbed, it moves to an higher excited state, that is E1 to E2. Once it moves from E2 to E1 back, there is some amount of energy which is releasing back. Now this is a photon of light which has been given. So what is the general summary of this particular process is, there is an absorption. Why there is an absorption? A UV or a laser light is falling on the electron, and hence this moves from the ground state to an excited state. So this is the movement from the ground state to excited state. So that is your second phenomena. Thirdly, when it has to return back from the excited state to the ground state, there is an emission. Now this particular phenomena happens in such a way that there is some photon of light which is emitted. Now Why at all this should happen? Now the electron orbits in the nucleus. We can see that there is an orbital for an electron. We can observe here that there is an orbital for the electron. It keeps orbiting around the nucleus. There is a source of light like a laser which forms on this electron. Now this goes from a ground state to an excited state. Now this, whatever is the system that has been absorbed by the laser over UV visible light, this electron is never going to rest in the ground state. It has to go to an excited state. So this electron jumps to a higher energy level. Once it jumps to an higher energy level, can it stay there? No, because it is an excited state. So let us say that this excited state, it has to again return back to its original orbit system. While returning back, there is an emission of some photon. Now this particular photon, if it has got a lower energy and longer wavelength, now this phenomena is called as a fluorescence phenomena. Now how at all this is happening? Once the electron is returning from its higher state to a lower state, in between it is releasing its energy, or in between it is releasing its photon, and hence we can say that there is a fluorescence phenomena. Let us see what is a fluorescence phenomena then. Fluorescence is nothing but, we can say light is temporary. As soon as the light is gone, no more photons are emitted. That is, once the electrons, they move from ground state to excited state, they move back to the ground state. Once this source of light is removed from there, that means there will be no more light which can be radiated. Now fluorescence phenomena, it re-emits the excess radiation with 10 raised to minus 6 to 10 raised to minus 4 seconds. Now this is called as time lapse. Now what is the meaning of time lapse? The time lapse is something where once the electrons have moved from ground state to excited state and from excited to ground state, that is, these electrons, they have to move back from excited state to the ground state. The time taken for the lapsing from excited state to the ground state is called as time lapse. Now this time lapse in terms of fluorescence is very less, that is 10 raised to minus 6 to 10 raised to minus 4 seconds. So what is a phosphorescence phenomena? We have already seen a fluorescence phenomena, that is it is going from a ground state to an excited state, it will return back to the ground state. Phosphorescence is again similar to fluorescence, but exception is there that atom or a molecule can store some light and the electrons give off photons over a longer period of time. Now this happens even when the incident light is cut off. Now this particular phenomena is also called as delayed fluorescence. Let us see an explanation for this. Say there is some light which we are shining on the molecule. Now electrons, they move from ground state to an excited state. They return back from excited state to the ground state, emitting some longer wavelength of energy. Now this longer wavelength of energy is 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 6 second. Now this is the time lapse that we can observe for the fluorescence, which is very less. Now this fluorescence phenomena, once the source of light is cut off, that means no more there will be a fluorescence phenomena. There will be no more fluorescence phenomena once the source of light is cut off. But in case of phosphorescence, once there is a flash of light which is given onto the molecule, the electrons again, they move from ground state to an excited state. Now these molecules are capable to store some amount of this flashed light or some amount of energy. Now this again has to return back to a ground state, because it can never stay in an excited state, because excited state cannot be a stable state. So what will happen is, from an excited state it has to return back to the ground state. In returning back, it will take more time compared to that of fluorescence. So what is the time gap for the fluorescence? 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 6. If this time gap increases even from 10 raised to minus 6 seconds to 10 raised to minus 4 seconds, that is more than this time is taken, then this phenomena is called as a delayed fluorescence phenomena, or it is also called as phosphorescence. The second speciality of phosphorescence is, though you remove the source of light, there will be still phosphorescence which will take place. Now for example, if there is a fluorescence, once the source of light is cut off, that means there will be no more fluorescence. But once there is a phosphorescence phenomena, though we remove the source of light, there will be still phosphorescence. So these are the main differences. That is, the time lapse is a longer time lapse for phosphorescence phenomena, and the time lapse is less for fluorescence phenomena. Once the source of light is removed, the fluorescence phenomena never takes place. That means it just gets stopped. Whereas once the source of light is removed, still the phosphorescence phenomena will be taking place.